Yamashita has the opportunity to even potentially become a double champion after this weekend. If she can win TOS, she gets to face Masha.
She can have plenty of gold around her waist at the end of this weekend. But first she has to get through the towering Sawyer Wreck as well as Kasey Krik here in round 1.
These are 3 athletes that are all familiar with each other, be it from in the ring or just the fact that the deathmatch community is relatively small. It's very tight-knit. Everyone, has this baseline level of respect for each other.
But Sawyer Wreck had the double birds for her opponents.
Yeah, but that's like...
She was like, too much of this respect before the match starts. Going against the grain, we have a 3-way lockup.
Whoa, and Sawyer with that height advantage lets her power out.
See if they try it again. They do. Sawyer Wreck with a huge height advantage, and again, just throwing both of her opponents toward the ropes out of the lockup.
Kasey and Rina deciding to work together at least for a moment here as Sawyer tries to chop her way out.
Doing a good job of it. Laying into both opponents. Off the ropes comes Sawyer Wreck, but taken off her feet by both Rina and Kasey.
Not a bad strategy for Rina and Kasey, at least early on in the match, to kind of try to neutralize Sawyer.
Still working together here, sending Sawyer Wreck into the corner now. Rina charges in, clothesline, connects with Sawyer Wreck. Forearm this time from Kasey Krik.
Rina handing out the tubes. None for you, Sawyer Wreck. Well, there's one, sort of.
And here's another one. Right over the head. And Rina smashing the remnants over her own head. Psyching herself up.
Yeah, it looks like Kasey and Rina are finding a lot of success in this makeshift tag team. Oh, never mind.
Sawyer trying to mount some offense here against them.
Oh.
Rina couldn't avoid the second kick attempt by Sawyer Wreck right to the side of her head. And now Sawyer with Kasey Krik up in the gory special.
Kasey's trapped, but Sawyer
grabbing the leg of Rina Yamashita.
Oh, putting Yamashita in a crab and holding on to Kasey.
Gory special, Boston Crab combination, but Rina's back on her feet and connects with a super kick to take Sawyer down.
And that also forced Sawyer to gory bomb Kasey right into that glass.
Now Rina and Sawyer face to face. Bit of a challenge from Rina. They're both going to grab tubes, it looks like.
Yeah. One in each hand. Sawyer Wreck, Rina Yamashita. Sawyer bowed her head.
2 over the head of Rina. Put over her head. She's hungry for competition. Boot to the midsection and using the jagged edge of the broken tube right across the forehead of Sawyer Wreck.
Oh. And now positioning Sawyer over the second rope and in front of the cameras.
Of course, all 4 sides need a close-up look at the carnage.
Meanwhile, Kasey Krik getting what I'm sure is some much-needed recovery time now.
See that dust from inside the light tube just pouring out of it as the glass slices Sawyer Wreck.
Rina's got a chair set up in the middle of the ring.
DDT head first into the chair goes Sawyer Wreck. Rina now going for the cover with the leg hooks. Only gets 2 though.
Rina pulling Sawyer back up to her feet by the hair.
Off the ropes comes Yamashita, but big boot from Sawyer Wreck takes her right off her feet. Her momentum was used against her.
And now Sawyer has the broken light tube, running it into Rina's forehead, that jagged, broken edge.
Rina draped across the second rope on this side of the ring. Looking to cause even more blood to flow out of the lacerated forehead of Rina. Sawyer Rex standing tall right now. Kasey down in one corner and Rina still at her mercy.
Oh, Rina seems a little wobbly on her feet, but she's still delivering blow after blow.
A flurry now from Yamashita. And Sawyer gives it back to her. Almost taking Rina down, but she's back up. Tosses the chair, does Kasey Krik. Rina's got it. Over the head of Sawyer Rex with the chair. Kasey avoids that shot from Rina. And Rina now with Kasey Krik. Reversal of the whip though. Rina into the corner. And now Kasey's got the chair. Over the head of Yamashita. Places the chair in the middle of the ring now. Kasey Krik.
And Kasey Krik has to be the freshest competitor in this match, if you could say that. Big pile driver.
Jumping pile driver into the chair. Cover. But Rina able to kick out.
And you can see, Dave, the imprint of Rina's skull is on that chair, but Kasey looking to do it again.
Rina doing her best to block the attempt, though. And now she's got Kasey Krik.
Oh.
Suplex onto the chair. The leg of that chair right into the lower back of Kasey Krik on the way down.
Krik has been neutralized again. You can see Yamashita looking around the ring.
Sawyer still out on the floor, keeping her eyes on what's going on inside the ring. Trying to regain her bearings out on the floor herself. Rina with the forearm in the corner on Kasey Krik. Trying to maintain the advantage here.
Another light tube in hand. And through the forehead of Kasey.
Kasey just trying to stay up at this point. But Rina continuing her onslaught. Trying to get her for a suplex maybe.
Yeah, look at Kasey's dropping her knees, trying to stop it. But Yamashita too strong.
Able to get the suplex.
Onto the piles of broken glass. Rina's
contemplating her next move.
Yeah, she's looking for something. I hope, for Sawyer and Kasey's sakes, I hope she never finds it.
A particular weapon, perhaps, is in mind right now, but she does have light tubes to still work with. Grabbing hold of the foot of Kasey Krik, pulling her toward the middle of the ring, but maybe took a little bit too much time. Sawyer was back on her feet. All three competitors back inside now.
Oh. Yamashita was standing over Kasey, like standing over a vampire with a stake.
But Sawyer Rex put a stop to it and has both of her opponents down now. Broken light tube in hand.
Kasey kicks the tube away, but Sawyer's still holding on to it.
And Sawyer now.
Uh-oh. We saw that milk crate full of gusset plates.
Well, retrieving a couple of them. And rather than utilizing them on one another, Sawyer and Kasey Krik perhaps going to go to work on Rina here with the gusset plates. But Rina's back up. She's going to grab one herself. All three women now with gusset plates in hand.
Just three bears of gusset plates. And none of them are just right, though.
What in the world?
So, Dave, this might be like a friendship thing.
They're just nuts. They're crazy. They're crazy.
You know, like you make friendship bracelets, that sort of thing. You get tattoos together at a bachelorette weekend.
That's not the same thing. Headbutt from Yamashita, one from Kasey Krik.
Oh, and they're just busting each other open in the forehead that already has those exposed wounds.
Repeated headbutts from all three competitors. Triple noggin knocker, and all three competitors are down. Referee checking on everyone's condition at this point. Only one of these three women will work their way into the semifinals of TOS.
Yamashita starting to get back to her knees, to her feet.
Kasey with a chair in her hand. Trying to get back up. Rina's back on her feet. Sawyer struggling to get up herself. Chair over the head.
And Kasey's the only person with a weapon in hand. But that doesn't matter when Sawyer Wreck boots your weapon through your face.
And now elevates Krik, suplex. Sawyer going for the cover.
But Yamashita, a double stomp through the back of the head to break up the pin.
Goes to the eyes of Sawyer. Inside cradle from Rina.
Sawyer kicks out.
Rina now struggling for the pinning predicament right here, has Sawyer down for a near fall once again.
And again, forcing Sawyer to roll through the glass to kick out of these pins.
Rina looking to come off the ropes, but Sawyer connects with the boot and sends Kasey Krik to the floor as well, out to the apron.
Sawyer trying to grab hold of Kasey and Rina, but they're fighting.
Dangerous position for all three women out on the apron now.
Yeah, they've managed to drag Sawyer out to the apron with them, and Sawyer, she's holding onto the ropes.
Sawyer trying to gain the advantage out here. Double choke slam, perhaps. Sawyer sends both of her opponents through the glass on the floor. 2 choke slams.
And you have to imagine, Dave, that glass, it absorbs none of the impact. So essentially they were choke slammed onto this concrete floor, but also onto glass.
Yes.
It's just absolutely disgusting.
At this point, it might just be whomever Sawyer selects to bring back inside the ring and go for a cover on to win this match. Take another look. Double choke slam off the apron through the glass to the concrete floor, courtesy of Sawyer Wreck.
And from that vantage point, here's a cover by Sawyer. From that vantage point, it also looks like Kasey clipped a chair on her way down too, but somehow she's back up on her feet.
With the leg scoop chair right into Sawyer Wreck. Kasey with the cover. Sawyer able to kick out.
Rina Yamashita snatching up Kasey.
German suplex, she's up. Somehow back on her feet, but Rina connects with another kick and a clothesline for good measure.
Kasey's grabbing at the back of her head. She went down hard into that glass. Now, Yamashita
has Sawyer Wreck right on her neck. Only a near fall.
Wreck somehow able to kick out. Even as the glass, you can see she's reaching for the back of her neck. She just has glass just embedded in her scalp.
Rina with 2 chairs now, setting them up in the middle of the ring. Kasey Krik still down, touching the back of her head. It looks like she may have landed on the edge of that chair. And Rina now with Sawyer Wreck could be thinking Splash Mountain onto the pile of chairs.
She's won matches with this before, generally not by, Splash Mountain bombing onto a chair.
And Kasey Krik breaks up the pin. I thought that was going to be it.
Yeah, and I think Rina was hoping to catch Kasey underneath. She moved.
Air raid crash on top of the chairs from Yamashita. It took a lot out of the back of Kasey Krik, and now a big bundle of tubes laid across Sawyer Wreck.
Yamashita says it's over. Got Kasey up on the shoulders now.
Splash Mountain coming up. Kasey Krik through the tubes on top of Sawyer Wreck. Rina with a cover. And that is 3. Rina Yamashita moves on to the semifinals.
The winner advancing the semifinals. Tournament of Survival 8. Yamashita.
And a definitive to watch this splash mountain bomb onto Sawyer Wreck. Rina Yamashita pinning both of her opponents at once to move on.
That's why she's the ultra-violent champion here in Game Changer Wrestling. A hell of an effort from both Kasey, Krik, and Sawyer Wreck along the way. But Rina pulls out the win, and that means round number 2 will be Ciclope, Toru Sugiura, John Wayne Murdoch, and Rina Yamashita. Winners of those 2 matches will meet in the finals at the end of the night. And all 3 competitors back on their feet. A sign of respect after the match from Sawyer Wreck.
Yeah, now that you know our final 4, use that hashtag GCW.